saw, he was asleep, and she saw, crawling up the window just above where he was sleeping, these strange hairy hands, bigger than normal human hands. And she was absolutely terrified and prayed that this evil would go from them. And they fell off the window and vanished. Now that was her account on them. When you think this is an area in which one of the worst of the accidents was a bus driver who was pulled over, and he said, afterwards, he said, I didn't do anything wrong. There were these two hands on the wheel, they were pulling the wheel. Now, it was all around this period between 1921 and 1924 in which the worst of the tragedies was the death of Dr. Helby. And so then we have a combination of motorcycles and mysteries, which we find fascinating. That I don't know what. Again, we thought of the first one as possibly being a time glitch with the motorcycle crash on the Maidenhead Road. Were they?
Were they at roughly the same time?
No, the
not the hairy one, but
yeah, the ones on the Maidenhead Road. I don't know how long before us it would have, before our show it would have been, but we were then making 40 and TV, which was 1998, 1999. And the driver was telling us about an event which had happened to him when he was driving a Triumph Renown. Now, the old Triumph Renowns went back a good 25 years before that. So we could say, let's take the 25 off the 1998, or if you call it 2000, we're going back to the 70s when he had that experience. And so he's about 50 years ahead of the hairy hands phenomena on that post-bridge to Two Bridges Road in Dartmouth. So, having looked at that one, someone remind me of what his or her preference was. We've done the motorbikes and 2 motorbike mysteries, and I do want to try and fit in for me. What would you...
He would like to know about your favourite book.
Oh, that's author. Favourite authors. Right, favourite authors. Well, going back to... I think we form our opinions as younger readers rather than when we've had an opportunity to read through thousands and thousands of books and styles. And I always liked G.K. Chesterton and the Chesterton stories, and trying to think what would of course be Arthur Conan Doyle, and not necessarily the Sherlock Holmes, but some of Doyle's other stories.
The Last World.
They were The Last World, and again I think this is my love of mysteries that takes us into that area. But those two, I would say Chesterton and Doyle, as partly because of the content, partly because of the style.
One question there, sorry, did you ever read any of the Judge Dee early stories? The Robert Van Gulik early Judge Dee novels? No,
I loved the stories and I loved the character, but I haven't read any of the early ones. I would like to.
Sorry, my apologies.
No, please, come on.
The reason why I ask is the element of Chinese supernaturalism is very strong in the very original basis of the detective stories.
Yeah.
And he tried eliminating that later on for Western readers.
Right.
But in the very early Judge Dee novels, it's still there to a degree.
Right.
It's quite interesting. Sorry,
no, not at all. Please, no. I mean, this is something I want us all to participate. I think that there's a lot of, if I analyse my Chesterton and my Conan Doyle, there are areas of mystery and the paranormal in both of them. So I think this is what I liked in the Judge Dee stories, though I haven't read the originals. And if you can bring in, I think, to a story, an element, because obviously the paranormal that fascinates us as with our work with ASAP. You know, the association, a lovely title, isn't it? Association for the Scientific Study of Anomalous Phenomena, and we are respectively President and First Lady of ASAP. And when an innocent anchor man or woman has got me on for a programme and they say, what's that organisation that you're president of? ASAP, rattle it off, the Association of Scientific Study, and they nearly always have trouble with anomalous phenomena. And so if you're the anchor man or anchor woman and you get this awkward bloke in the studio who happens to be president of something unpronounceable, I always feel sorry for them, so I normally just call it ASAP. But we do get involved in all sorts of investigations through ASAP, and I know one or two of you said you're interested in the Unsolved Mysteries. I'm trying to think of one that we hadn't included when I did the Unsolved Mysteries talk, and you prompted me. Oh yes, now this was something that, this was one where we weren't just investigating, this is one where something happened to me. And we'd gone over to Rome to get some background information for one of the other books we were doing. We went down into the catacombs. We went into the catacomb of St. Calixtus, and huge notices up, photography forbidden, photography forbidden. And we had a very nice guide who was actually a Frenchman, because the English guide was off duty, and he had said to us, rather than waste your time, I speak a little English, I can take you round. And we said, that'll be fine, we'll put up with any linguistic problems as long as we can go and tour the catacomb. And I wanted to take some pictures, and this very nice Frenchman knew that several of us wanted to take. He said, unfortunately I am only the guide, I cannot contravene the rules, I cannot give you permission, but I am going to walk on around the next corner and have a cigarette. And we thought, what a nice bloke. So Trish kept within about 30 yards of me so I didn't get lost. She had the main party and the guide who was having the quick cigarette where she could see them, and I hung behind with the camera and was shooting away in all directions to get some pictures for the next book. And suddenly I am aware of something behind me, very tall, seemed to be about 7 feet, and wearing what I can only describe as an inverted black cone. You know, one or two of the guys who've got these beautiful death costumes, almost the same, except that the hat came down, joined the shoulders and continued to the floor, all in one piece, with just a sort of little eye slit in the middle. A little bit like a Ku Klux Klan outfit, except in black, shining black material. And three thoughts went through my mind almost simultaneously. First one, is this a security man who is going to confiscate my camera? Two, is it a mugger? In which case I'm going to enjoy the next 30 seconds, and he won't. And the third thought was, is this something inexplicable? Is this something paranormal? And then what felt like a hand descended on my shoulder. I said this guy was huge, whatever it was. It came down on my shoulder, not aggressively or threateningly, but just like you put your hand on a friend's shoulder if you were talking to him about something. And I turned slowly around and saw this thing. And the feeling, you know, when you're in any interpersonal situation, you can tell if somebody is hostile and dangerous, you know, a nasty situation. You can also tell when a friend runs towards you, haven't seen you for a while, puts his arms around you, warm, friendly situation. But this bloke was radiating, or whatever this was radiating curiosity. I felt that this was a bloke who wanted to know something. A sort of, who are you? What's that gadget in your hand? And what are you doing down here? And so far from being hostile and frightening, it was rather like somebody coming up to you at the bus stop and saying, can you tell me when the next one leaves for Cardiff? And I turned around to try and talk to him. I didn't know what to do. and it slowly faded and disappeared.